afternoon. It's early morning here, but good afternoon to everybody who is listening to this presentation. Thank you, Jamal Matan, for a very kind introduction. I do appreciate that. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure to speak to such an august audience who have tuned in from across the globe. I am honored and truly grateful for this opportunity to discuss the important topic of Somalian and diaspora youth and violence. I must add there that I have taken the liberty to include the youth within Somalia in the discussion, as the impact of suggested action is rather interconnected. So the title of my presentation is Changing Lives in Changing Environments, Somalian and Diaspora Youth and Violence. We need to be cognizant of the fact that a large number of diaspora from all nationalities and all types of countries go to different parts of the world and make very, very positive contribution. So this should be recognized that, when we talk about youth and violence, we are not talking all youth are violent, and we are not talking of it is a significant problem, yes, but nevertheless, it is emerging from a particular sect of the diaspora community, and it is emerging in Somalia for different reasons. My presentation, the way I have structured is that I want to explore why youth violence actually happens. Because I don't believe that every child, that children are born with some violent tendencies and this and that. I believe that sometimes it is the way societies are structured, it is the way they get to a different land and they find it very difficult to come to terms of their new abode. That's where confusion occurs, and that's where most possibly violence occurs. And to be violent, each of us, normal human beings, are capable of being violent, because there is a trigger mechanism. And the people who are calm and who have got much bigger way of thinking often have that trigger mechanism that doesn't get started until unless your family is in danger, until unless your loved one is in danger, and so on and so forth. So I will be speaking about why that happens. I will also be speaking about how to overcome and remedy these sort of situations. And I will then discuss what can be done in order to change the violence of Somali youths who get lost in the new country, and Somali youth who get lost in Somalia as well, because Somalian youth population is over 70%, and a country with that sort of youth population is the richest country in the world, because most of the global population is aging. A country with that sort of young population is considered to be very wealthy because of human potential. Nevertheless, the same human potential can be an asset or it can be a liability. And what is important is that for us to think how we deal with this rather happy thing, as well as when it becomes unhappy things because of circumstances. In other words, what I'm trying to say is how can we view it as an asset, and what can we do to promote that asset so that we get the maximum potential out of the human beings and contribute to the development of the country. Or we can sit and think about a lot of things, but in the meantime, the youth actually get on the wrong side of the law. And then it becomes a liability for any society. So it has that potential. I was invited to Somalia as a keynote speaker in 2019, and let me share some of my understanding of Somalia by talking to civic leaders, by talking to lots and lots of youth. And I've got so many photos with young people buzzing with motivation, buzzing with a spirit of trying to achieve things and so on and so forth. I had very, very close discussions with youth, with civic leaders, with parliamentarians, past and present. And my view is that Somalia is a very resilient country. My view is it is a vibrant and country, but unfortunately, because of circumstances, some beyond the control of the past, Somalians, etc., it has underutilized human potential. Because these 70% of the people, when I talk to them, and they still communicate with me, believe you me, they still communicate with me through Instagram and so on, from time to time, sending message of goodwill, etc. Now, my point is this, that yes, Somalian diaspora has got problems because of very different reasons, but Somalian youth has got a problem for a very different reason. Somali youth has got a problem because they don't find a path to grow themselves. They don't find a path to get a purpose of life, to pursue a purpose of life. I've talked to many of them, and they mentioned the same thing. It's so difficult to get a job, and I don't know how I'm going to be somebody, to be useful to Somalia. The other thing that struck me in my 12-day stay and talking to various people is that Somalians may become diaspora, but they remain Somalians in the sense that they still have the love for the country, which is quite unique, by the way, which is quite unique because generally when people settle in a different country for a long period of time, they tend to lose that contact with their home country, and they are not as close to their home country. I've seen so many Somalians who are working in Somalia, but they are Canadian nationals, they are New Zealand nationals, they are Australian nationals, and so on and so forth. And they want to work, their families are in Canada or America, and they are working in Somalia because they want to contribute to Somalia. So these are the good things that I have noticed about Somalia. The bad thing, of course, is that there is a level of terrorism, there is a level of fear that exists in the society which has restrained this development. And there is when I was there were 2 blasts. So, for the first time in my life, I was being driven around in an armored car and things like that. So those sort of things is what is pulling down Somalia. So my speech is going, my talk is going to show some ways of actually creating creating a Somalia which is also moving forward, and creating a similar sort of thing in various locations where there is a large population of diasporas to actually change the mindset from violence to peace, to change the mindset from towards development. And I am going to suggest some ideas in that regard. I am also going to suggest where funding can come for that. I am going to suggest what should be taught about it. This is not, in 5-10 minutes, it is impossible to give a perfect example of what these things mean. But you will have some sense at the end of the speech that these ideas can actually create youth who can contribute their full potential towards the development of the society they are living in, towards the development of the country they are living in. So, in case of diaspora, this is what is happening in Somalia. There is hopelessness in youth because they can't find jobs. In case of diaspora, the situation is slightly different. Diaspora come in two significant groups. Number one is those who have made a conscious decision to move out of Somalia for a better opportunity in America, for a better opportunity in Australia, or wherever they decided to go. They made a conscious choice to move the country for the betterment of their families, for the betterment of their own economic status, for the betterment of their professional development. Youth violence is far less significant. It's more incidental, that by chance somebody got into the wrong track. By chance something happened which created a problem with a particular group of youth. The second group is the refugees who have been dislocated from their home because of safety reason, because of persecution, because of destitution, and so on. These people, when they move to a new country, they are very, very, very lost. In some ways, they are very happy that they have moved to a country which seems to be a better country than their own. We have got refugees from Afghanistan in Australia. We have got refugees from Africa. And I have been meeting lots of people here from African background. And lots of people here from African background have made a very significant life for themselves, right? But at the same time, there are some African refugees who have created problem in terms of crime, who are involved in crime, who are involved in drugs and things like that. So this group of people are really the center of attention, if you like, for this purpose of discussion, because this group requires a whole host of interventions when they come to a new country. They require Somalians to guide them step by step, give them confidence to stay in the new country, give them confidence to learn the new language, and to adjust the way that is co-aligned with that country's value system and things like that. For example, a very simple example is in Eastern cultures, father is the patriarchal head of the family and has power even when children are grown up and they listen to their father, right? In a Western society, after 18, as a parent, you have absolutely no control over your child because they are considered to be an adult. And that itself is a big conflict. Because parents feel that this child is gone because he says to his father he has different way of thinking. He says to his mother that he wants to do something different than what their parents wanted him to do. There is, in discussion, he can disagree with what his father's view of the world is. In a Western society, this is absolutely normal. We debate, we converse, we discuss, and then understand it. I have been in this country for 40 years. My two children, when we came into this country, my wife and I sat down and thought about it as to how we want to bring up our children. Do we want to bring them up as a Pakistani in Somalia, Pakistani in Australia, so that they always remain migrant, they never feel Australia as a home? Or should we take the other route and say that Australia has got some good values, Pakistan has got some good values. Let us combine those good values together. Let them give them freedom to meet Australians and to have Australian friends, and we meet Australians and learn a lot of things about the country. So this is a decision, conscious decision that we made. But we had the advantage of a lot of education, a lot of experience. I mean, I myself have been to 33 countries. I have seen how life is all around, etc., etc. So this makes a lot of sense. Then I can understand why my wife is educated. We sat down and we discussed it, and that's how we approach our children. And mashallah, my children are doing well. They have got Australian values as well as good Pakistani values. So for us, it is not difficult. For educated people, professional people, it is not difficult to do that. For people who have come as refugees where they never wanted to move out of the country, they were forced to move out of the country because of persecution and so on and so forth, they feel lost in a new country. And there is a lot of intervention that is needed. If Somalis want to, the diaspora want to help those diaspora who are refugees, they have to create a lot of interconnections with them. Because they need holding hands. Their children need holding hands to understand how they can choose a career and so on and so forth. In countries like Pakistan, you have got 2-3 choices. You become an engineer, you become a doctor, or you become a business person and so on and so forth. You can become a nurse and so on and so forth. In a country like Australia, there are myriad of choices. And even Australians born here get confused. So consider a Somalian refugee coming to Australia, they are totally lost. And what is needed is a center where they can get somebody to hold their hands and develop them. So this is where these are the birth of the problems, if you like. These are the things that increase the possibilities of youth particularly going into the wrong direction because they are totally lost. So how can it be remedied? I mean, this we can talk about for the whole night about the problem.
Yes, to just jump in, Dr. Shahid, if you could wrap it up, maybe because of time issue and all that. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, sure. So what we need is we need to give them a lot of training, coaching, counseling, and developing them on that basis. Okay, so how is the interventions that we can bring in order to nurture these youth? In a Somalian sense, we need to have a capacity building center, which is also nation building center, which provides skills to change the mindset from being a job seeker to become a job giver. And it can be done. It can be very easily done by certain types of specialist training. And for that, I suggest we should have a capacity building center. What is needed is an institution, is needed a capacity building institution which provides skills to create new businesses, micro businesses, which provides skills to develop creativity, find opportunities and implementing those opportunities and so on. So those are the sort of things. And to finally conclude, you may ask me, yes, this is all very fancy idea. Where are we going to fund it? My suggestion is that global diaspora, which is very, very successful, some of the Somalian people, for example, are members of the Congress. Some of the Somalian people, for example, are councillors in very large local councils. They are elected there. There is a whole host of Somalians who are very highly educated. I have met many of them coming from Norway and coming from Denmark and so on and so forth. My suggestion is that GSD should build a foundation in which the diaspora can contribute a very small part of their salary or a very small part as donations, and at the same time the Zakat fund can be contributed to the foundation.
Yes.
This will create a lot of funds.
Thank you very much.
Similarly, you can do the same in Somalia.
Yes.
And you will create a lot of financial resources to build such centers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shahid.
With that, thank you very much. I do appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, and I'll be ready to answer any question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr.